Wolverine wasn't supposed to evolve again, but something inside him finally woke up. The secret core buried in his adamantium lit up like a dying star. Hulk was the first to feel the pulse, and he stepped back. Iron Man scanned Logan once, and his armor went into lockdown. Captain America tried to talk him down, and Logan didn't recognize him. The Avengers gathered to restrain him, but the core kept rising. Something ancient was rewriting Wolverine's DNA from the inside out. And the last thing Logan whispered was, "Don't come closer. I can't hold it." The wind didn't carry scent anymore. Not for him. Wolverine stood in the center of a scorched clearing, fists clenched, claws extended. Not by choice. The metal glowed faintly, not like heated steel, but like something alive underneath. He wasn't healing. That was the first sign. His shoulder had been ripped open 2 hours ago. By now, it should have been sealed, scarred, erased like it never happened. But instead, it pulsed. Something was changing. Logan looked down at his own chest. Every breath rattled like it was being dragged through molten rock. Not pain. Worse, rebirth. He dropped to one knee. Something under his skin surged. Hulk had been the first to arrive. He didn't speak. He never did in moments like this. Just stood at the edge of the crater, sniffing the air, jaw clenched. And then, shockingly, he stepped back. One foot, then another. That was when Logan knew it was real. "You okay, Runt?" Hulk asked, quietly, like someone who didn't want to wake a sleeping bomb. "I ain't sure," Logan growled, but his voice didn't sound like his. It crackled, like it was passing through static. "I don't think this is me anymore." Iron Man's suit appeared from the sky 5 seconds later, scanning midair, scanning again, then hovering in silence. Tony Stark's voice broke the quiet. "You've got glowing bones, Logan. That's not a euphemism. Your entire adamantium skeleton is lighting up like a reactor core." "Not mine. Never was." Logan stood, wobbling. His claws hissed. "What the hell did they put in me?" "Unknown alloy detected," Tony replied. "Not in our records, and not from Earth." Before anyone could react, the ground buckled. It wasn't an explosion. No debris, no sound. Just gravity snapping for a millisecond. Hulk lost his balance. Iron Man's HUD glitched. The birds in the sky dropped for a moment, like the planet forgot they had wings. And Logan? He didn't move. His eyes were blank white. The core had pulsed. Far away, Avengers Tower registered the quake as a Class 7 seismic anomaly. Thor was already en route. Black Widow rerouted from Tokyo. Doctor Strange felt the disturbance before it even occurred. But none of them knew what Logan knew now. This wasn't evolution. This was activation. His mind unraveled with memories that weren't his. Images of war-torn stars. Planets crumbling. Weapons that looked like bones. Living, breathing bones, tearing through civilizations. And in all of them, one figure always walked alone. Claws out. Burning from the inside. Just like him. "Iron Man," Logan muttered. "Pull up any files you got on Weapon X backups. Not what the government showed you. What they erased." "Already trying," Tony said, though even he sounded nervous. "My firewall just fried trying to access level X Zeta. That's not military. That's off-world." "I figured," Logan grunted. "This don't feel human." Thor landed like thunder behind him, hammer raised. But he didn't strike. Not yet. He narrowed his eyes and examined Wolverine closely. "There's something inside you, warrior," Thor said, circling him. "And it is not of Midgard. I've known that since the first time they dipped me in metal." "The core is waking," Tony added. "And if it spikes again, we're not containing it." Wolverine fell forward, hands driving into the ground. But instead of dirt, his claws met something hard beneath the surface. Metal. No adamantium that extended downward like a spike. Buried deep, he had walked here on instinct. His body had led him to this place. The ground below began to shift. A buried structure, perfectly circular, triggered by Logan's pulse. Thor raised his hammer again. Hulk lowered into a crouch. "Don't," Logan snapped, glaring up with heat in his eyes. "Whatever this thing is, it's tied to me. Then came the scream, not from Logan, but from the Earth itself. A soundless frequency hit every Avenger at once, like a migraine that skipped the head and went straight to the soul. Iron Man's suit lost control. Thor dropped his hammer. Hulk let out a roar, not from rage, from fear. Only Logan remained still. "I can feel it now," he whispered. "It's not just metal. It's not just healing." "What is it?" Tony shouted through a static-filled comms link. "It's me," Logan said. "The part they never told me about. The part one wasn't supposed to survive long enough to wake up." A fissure split the clearing, glowing from within. The structure under the soil wasn't a base. It wasn't a lab. It was a chamber, designed to resonate with one signature only, the core inside Wolverine's bones. Weapon X hadn't created the adamantium. They had stolen it from something older, from something that knew Logan would one day outlive the others, that his healing would keep the core alive long enough for Earth's wars, rage, grief, pain, to finally trigger it. It needed more than science to wake up. It needed suffering. And Logan was the perfect vessel. The glow grew brighter. Cracks spread outward. Hulk backed up. Thor summoned Mjolnir with urgency. But Logan stood still. He wasn't fighting it anymore, because the core was done sleeping. With a flash of blinding light, the chamber exploded upward, a column of silver mist and blue flame. In its center, Logan hovered, lifted by a force that wasn't gravity or flight. His claws weren't claws anymore. They were blades of living energy, vibrating with alien resonance, humming like symphonies made of violence. The Avengers watched, helpless. And for the first time in years, they all asked the same question. What is Wolverine becoming? He looked down at them, eyes pure white, chest burning from the inside. And in a voice that echoed with something more than just rage, he said, "Get back. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't hold it much longer." The sky above cracked open, not from the core, but from what was coming next. The shockwave from Wolverine's transformation hadn't even settled when Iron Man's armor reactivated with emergency failsafes. Every subsystem screamed warnings. Heat signatures spike beyond measurable limits. Radiation unknown. Energy source unclassified. And at the center of all that chaos stood Logan, levitating, claws glowing like cosmic blades forged inside a star. Hulk dug his feet into the dirt, bracing himself as if a tornado was forming only around Wolverine. "Logan, stop," he growled, but his voice cracked. Hulk didn't crack. Wolverine didn't answer. He didn't hear words anymore. He heard frequency. He heard vibration. He heard the core whispering through his skeleton, telling him the Avengers weren't enemies. They were obstacles, heat signatures in a world he was no longer built to inhabit. Iron Man's suit launched magnetic clamps automatically, locking onto Logan from every angle. They spiraled with precision, latching onto his limbs and torso, sparking as they tried to override the energy bursting from his bones. Mag restraints engaged. Tony shouted, "They should immobilize." The restraints melted. Not snapped, not torn, melted, as though someone had dipped chains into a collapsing sun. Logan dropped to the ground, knees buckling as another pulse ripped through his body, making the entire clearing sink by 6 inches. Soil cracked. Trees bent inward. The Avengers felt it in their bones, an ancient power vibrating under their skin like a subdermal siren. Captain America rushed in, shield raised. He didn't attack him. He stood between Wolverine and the others. "Logan, listen to me," Cap said, his voice low, steady. "You've fought this long. You're stronger than whatever's trying to take you." Wolverine's gaze snapped toward him, a gaze that didn't recognize the man he'd bled beside for decades. "Steve," Logan whispered, but the voice wasn't his. It was layered, as if two beings spoke the word at once. "Get away." Captain America didn't move. A burst of energy erupted from Logan's body, sending Cap flying like a missile into the trees. His shield vaporized mid-air, vaporized, not cracked, like it was swallowed by the core's frequency. Thor saw it and realized hesitation was impossible. He swung Mjolnir with a roar of thunder, lightning exploding across the sky as he aimed to stun Wolverine with a strike strong enough to knock the Hulk unconscious. But lightning didn't hit Wolverine. It curved. The energy streaming from Logan's body bent the lightning mid-flight, splitting it into streams before dispersing it harmlessly into the ground. Not an attack, a defense mechanism. The core was protecting itself. Thor landed hard, boots carving trenches into the dirt as he braced himself. By Odin's name, he bends lightning. Iron Man didn't wait. He launched a sonic pulse, 200 decibels, strong enough to shatter reinforced metal bunkers. The air cracked. Birds across miles scattered. Trees shook. Logan didn't even blink. Instead, he screamed one short guttural sound, and the sonic pulse turned back toward Tony like a dome effect, slamming Iron Man into a boulder so hard the boulder cracked. "Tony," Black Widow shouted. She sprinted across the battlefield, leaping over fractures, rolling into shadows, using every stealth tactic to get close. She aimed grappling hooks infused with Stark's nanite suppressors at Wolverine's arms. The hooks hit. The nanites injected. Wolverine's claws flickered for a moment. Then the nanites fried from his heat, falling off him like ash. Widow wasn't afraid of gods or aliens, but she feared unpredictability, and Wolverine was no longer predictable. She stepped back, not to retreat, but because her instincts screamed that getting closer meant death. "We need a secondary plan," she shouted. "We don't have one," Tony snapped through a damage comm. "This isn't a mutant power surge. This is a reactor meltdown wrapped inside a human skeleton." Hulk roared and charged. He didn't hold back. This wasn't the time for restraint or teamwork or thinking. This was rage against whatever was stealing his friend. He tackled Wolverine with enough force to crack mountains. The earth cratered. But Logan didn't go flying this time. He caught Hulk, one hand on Hulk's chest, and Hulk froze. Hulk, who could lift continents, who tore apart gods, couldn't move. Pressure built under Wolverine's palm, crushing the air from Hulk's lungs. The core resonated at a frequency that paralyzed even gamma-enhanced muscles. Hulk tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. "Logan, not you." Wolverine's eyes softened, flickering for a moment. Something human beneath the white glow. But the core seized again, dragging Logan into its storm. A shockwave blasted out, sending Hulk flying farther than Cap, half a mile away, leaving a trench where his body slid across the earth. Thor lifted Mjolnir again. He will level this realm if he continues. We must subdue him. Iron Man staggered to his feet, armor hissing. Then we subdue him without killing him. He's still Logan. Not for long, Thor warned. The core inside Wolverine burst into a new phase. His silhouette blurred, his claws stretched, not physically, but through energy projection. They cut the air, leaving glowing rifts that didn't close. Reality bent around Wolverine now. The ground under him shook as the buried chamber reacted to his evolution. Silver liquid metal rose from below, surrounding him, orbiting him like fragments of a machine he was meant to complete. And Logan felt everything. Not just the battlefield, not just the Avengers. He felt the planet. He felt tectonic plates shifting kilometers beneath his feet. He felt every heartbeat within miles. He felt stars through the atmosphere. His body trembled as he fought the core. "I say get back." Thor didn't listen. He hurled his hammer with divine fury. Wolverine lifted one glowing claw. Mjolnir stopped midair. The hammer of a god, frozen. Tony watched his HUD go black. Widow felt her spine tighten. Hulk, still regaining breath, stared in disbelief. Logan growled, voice deep as the earth itself. "I'm not your enemy, but I ain't in control." Mjolnir vibrated, struggling against the core's gravity. Wolverine lowered his claw slightly. The hammer dropped. Thor caught it, eyes wide with something he rarely felt, doubt. Iron Man ran new simulations, all of them failing. "We need to shut the core down. It's rewriting him. If it hits a full surge, we're talking continental-level fallout." Black Widow took a step toward Logan. "There has to be something left of him. He wouldn't hurt us. Not unless..." Logan roared again, dropping to one knee. His claws stabbed into the ground, sending energy cracks racing outward like lightning veins. His skin flickered. His veins glowed. His heart sounded like a reactor meltdown. "Don't come closer," he rasped. The Avengers didn't move. The core pulsed again, harder than anything before. The sky split open. A crack of pure white tore through the clouds, spiraling above Wolverine like a beacon. Iron Man scanned it. That's not weather. That's something answering him. Thor gripped his hammer tightly. Something ancient. Black Widow whispered, "Something we can't fight." Wolverine lifted his head, eyes glowing brighter than ever. "It's too late," he said, voice shaking. "They hear me now." The Avengers realized something horrifying. They weren't witnessing a transformation. They were witnessing a signal. And the universe had just heard Wolverine's call. Wolverine didn't remember standing up. He didn't remember the lightning that kissed his bones or the way the ground peeled back from his feet like it feared him. All he knew was the hum, not outside, but inside. A low, infinite vibration. The core had fully entered phase 2. His eyes no longer blinked. Not because he couldn't, but because he didn't need to. His skin wasn't healing, it was evolving. Every scar, every wound, every fragment of Weapon X memory was dissolving into something else. Something smoother, cleaner, sharper. Tony was still scanning him, even as his HUD crashed every 10 seconds. "He's rewriting," Tony said, whispering mostly to himself. "Not just physically. DNA, neurons, nerve mesh. He's becoming something designed." Wolverine turned toward the noise, but his head didn't move. He didn't need motion anymore, just intent. Tony's armor locked up. Ice-cold systems, nuclear-cooled cores, and fail-safe quantum systems. All of it shut down with a blink, then turned back on, then shut down again. "Jarvis, run a recursive, static. Friday, initiate fallback mode." Nothing answered. Wolverine's mere awareness of Iron Man was enough to crash one of the most powerful suits on the planet, without touching it. That's when Black Panther arrived. He hadn't come with the others. He had watched, analyzed, studied, and now he moved silently toward the edge of the crater, cloak billowing with each step. "You are no longer Wolverine," Chalice said flatly. Logan turned. "Who am I then?" The voice was distant, echoed, like it passed through alien metal. "You are what they buried in you, and it is awake." Thor walked to Chalice's side. "If this is some foreign god, it must be contained." Chala shook his head. "It's not a god. It's a weapon that thinks." "Wolverine doesn't think like this," Thor growled. "Because Wolverine no longer exists," Chala replied. Logan dropped to one knee again, but this time the ground didn't crack. It absorbed him, not swallowed, accepted. Energy spread outward from his body like veins, pure light, coursing through earth like roots. A radius of glowing channels surrounded him, expanding across the terrain like a circuit grid being burned into reality itself. Thor raised his hammer. "No," Chala warned. "This is no longer about impact. It's about interference." Then Logan spoke, but not to them. "I know what I am now." His hands trembled as he stared at the blue glow rising from his claws. They weren't claws anymore. They were extensions of memory. Alien, weaponized memory. "They sent this core here," he said. "Before Weapon X. Before adamantium. Before I was even found." Tony rebooted into emergency AI mode, speaking through an earpiece. "Define they." Logan didn't blink. "They created destroyers. Planet level. Dropped seeds on developing worlds. Then waited. Waited for what? For someone broken enough to awaken it." Silence gripped the team. They didn't care who, Logan said. Just someone angry. Someone who couldn't die. Someone who had outlived pain, rage, trauma, until the seed sprouted. And that someone was him. A lightning storm began to swirl overhead, but it wasn't natural. The clouds weren't forming from moisture. They were forming from him, from his biofield, now interacting with the atmosphere, simulating weather, drawing attention. Strange opened a portal in the sky, eyes burning, cloak trailing behind him like blood through water. He stared at Logan for 3 seconds, then closed the portal without stepping through. Even Strange knew this was no longer a magical event. This was cosmic programming. Code written into DNA, a transformation that didn't just threaten Earth. It threatened the logic of nature itself. Captain America limped back onto the field, armor scorched, no shield. He looked up at Logan and whispered, "You still in there?" Logan turned to him. His expression softened. A tremor ran through his arms. For a moment, something flashed in his eyes. Not light, not power, remorse. "I can't turn it off," Logan said. "And I don't think I'm supposed to." "Then what do we do?" Cap asked. "Nothing." Logan stood. The energy from his claws retracted into his hands. The veins of light around him stilled. "I'm going to leave," he said. "No," Tony said. "We can still." "You can't fix this," Logan said, but there was no anger in his voice. Just tired truth. "I was the key. The core's just the door." "To what?" Cap asked. "To whoever hears the signal." Thunder cracked overhead. "I'm a transmitter now. A beacon. They know I'm alive. And they'll come." Hulk climbed out from the distant crater where Logan had tossed him earlier. For once, he didn't charge. He didn't roar. He just sat, watching, silent. The rift above them expanded, a spiral of light tearing into clouds, revealing not sky, but stars. Strange reappeared. "This isn't a transformation," he said quietly. "It's an invitation." Wolverine nodded once. His voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm not safe here. Let us help," Widow said. Logan looked at her. "If you try, you die." Tony stepped forward. "Then tell us what we do now." Logan didn't answer. He raised his hand. A portal opened. Not magic, not tech, something new. A tear in local space, shimmering like liquid metal. It didn't show another world. It showed infinity. An ocean of stars collapsing and expanding at the same time. A place beyond physics. "I go there," Logan said. "And if they follow, I'll be waiting." Cap said nothing. Hulk lowered his head. Widow turned her back to hide the tears. Thor held his hammer at his side. And Tony just nodded. "You'll find your way back," Stark said. "You always do." Logan didn't reply. He stepped through the rift. And before it closed, his voice echoed behind him, distant but clear. "If I don't make sure Earth is ready." The rift sealed, and silence returned. Not just quiet, absence. As if part of the world had gone missing. The Avengers stood alone, hearts heavier than any loss they had faced before. Because this wasn't just Wolverine gone. This was Wolverine undone. And the galaxy had just heard him scream. Hours after Wolverine vanished through the rift, Earth was quiet. Too quiet. No signals. No seismic pulses. No core radiation. Just absence. But Iron Man didn't rest. He was already underground, literally, beneath the ruins of the old Weapon X archives, accessing files that were never supposed to exist. Not just redacted, erased. He found them layered behind quantum-locked firewalls, written in alien code, embedded in Project X's early logs. Even S.H.I.E.L.D. had never touched this layer. He decrypted line by line, slowly revealing a phrase repeated hundreds of times. Host must survive sufficient trauma to activate transdimensional key. A key, not a power, not an upgrade. Wolverine's core was a key. Tony dug deeper. The experiments weren't about building the perfect soldier. They were about finding one who could carry something ancient, something alien. Long before adamantium was injected into Logan's skeleton, that skeleton had already been targeted. Buried in a lab schematic was an orbital path, ancient, gravitational data from decades before Weapon X was even formed. A falling object from deep space. Its impact zone matched exactly with where Logan had been found as a soldier. Not born there, not stationed, found. They hadn't given him the core. He had already come with it. Tony sat back, helmet off, chest plate flickering. He was never just a mutant. He opened a hologram of Wolverine's DNA. Under enhanced zoom, tiny crystalline formations sparkled inside the adamantium, living crystals, reacting to electromagnetic pulses from deep space. Listening, recording, growing. The trauma he survived, the wars, the loss, the failed experiments, the countless near-death moments, that was never punishment. It was programming. Every pain, every betrayal, every death was data. The core had fed on it, had learned from it, and now it had awakened. Tony called in Reed Richards. He needed someone who understood the mechanics of unnatural energy better than anyone. When Reed saw the scans, he didn't speak for 20 minutes. Then he finally said this wasn't random. The seed inside him, it's a shard. A shard of what? Of a being that existed before light. Something that couldn't die. So it broke itself into living fragments, spread them across galaxies, hoping one would survive long enough, angry enough, broken enough to put itself back together. Tony stared at him. Logan's one of those fragments? Reed nodded slowly. Or the first complete one? They both looked at the simulation again. If Logan's core kept evolving, he wouldn't just open doors. He was the door. Elsewhere, in a pocket of space that didn't belong to any galaxy, a new rift formed. And Wolverine stepped out. He wasn't alone. The core had changed him. His muscles didn't just move, they hummed. His claws didn't just cut, they bent matter. He no longer breathed oxygen. He didn't need to. But his thoughts were still his own. That was the worst part. He remembered everyone. Cap's voice, Natasha's warnings, Stark's concern, Jean's eyes, Xavier's dream, all of it. And he couldn't go back. Because something was coming through him now. Something dark. Something that recognized him as its match, as its piece. And when he looked at the stars stretching around him, fractured, distant, rippling like mirrors, he knew one truth. He was no longer evolving. He was returning. The stars weren't still anymore. They moved as he moved, warped when he exhaled, bled light when he opened his hands. Wolverine drifted through a dimension with no name, standing on nothing, yet grounded by the pulse of the core inside him. Every second, it burned brighter, stronger, smarter. He was no longer the soldier. He was the gate, and something on the other side was knocking. It wasn't a voice. It was recognition, like two halves of the same scream finally hearing each other across galaxies. The core responded with energy arcs that carved glyphs into the void, signals written in pain. The glyphs answered back. A second rift began to open, massive, spiraling, forming a shape that didn't obey physics. An eye, a maw, a world. It wasn't clear, but it was alive, and it had been waiting for him. On Earth, the Avengers stood silently around a hologram of the anomaly expanding in space. Reed Richards had tried to calculate its potential mass, but the numbers didn't make sense. It was growing from nothing, fueled by Logan's pulse. The core's not calling for help, Stark said. It's calling itself home. Cap clenched his fists. And if it gets through, then the war we've been preparing for. Tony paused. That was just pregame. In the void, Wolverine stood at the edge of the final tear. One step, and he would cross the line. Not just physically, existentially. He could feel it. The last evolution. If he let the core complete its work, he would become the first full restoration of whatever ancient force had seeded the fragments across the universe. He would become the first God-killer reborn. It was all instinct now, all memory, all code written into his marrow. But still, Logan hesitated. Because inside all that cosmic machinery, there was still the man, the soldier, the mutant who fought beside people who believed in redemption, the man who had bled for children, shielded innocence, died and come back not because he wanted to, but because someone needed him. And now, no one needed him to become a weapon. They needed him to choose. He clenched his fists. The core pulsed, confused by resistance. The rift shook. The glyphs screamed. The entity on the other side surged forward like a tidal wave of memory. But Logan planted his feet, and for the first time since the core awakened, he rejected it. "I'm not your door," he growled. The core roared inside his bones. His claws ignited. His chest burned like a second sun. The entity pushed forward, desperate to merge. But Logan didn't move. He turned the power inward. Instead of releasing it, he buried it. He let the pain return. Let the scars surface. Let the memories become sharp again. The trauma that built him, He used it to shut the core down. He screamed, a sound that cracked stars. His body began to break apart under the pressure, but he didn't stop. He chose Earth. He chose humanity. He chose himself. And in a final act of defiance, he drove his glowing claws into his own chest, straight into the heart of the core. The rift collapsed instantly. The glyphs vanished. The entity recoiled, folding back into silence. And Logan fell, not into space, not into light, but into stillness. Somewhere far away, he lay motionless on the surface of a dead world. No light, no voice, no war, just peace. For the first time in his life, the weapon chose not to fire. And the universe would never know how close it came to ending, because Wolverine held the line, alone, forever.